This video is by request. We're going to attempt to weld cast iron with a MIG for the second time. The first time we welded that little hinge piece for my lathe, we were successful. It worked pretty well. Let me show you the other side of this. This is, of course, the generator mount on my John Deere B that we've been working on lately. And you can see how it cracked. I still don't quite know how that happened, but it looks like I can get this bracket off the tractor. That would make it a lot easier for me. I've got the two pieces off the tractor ready to go. Got my Dr. Pepper and my weapons of mass destruction. So the first thing we're going to do is clean up this metal. That looks pretty good. That'll prevent the paint and rust from interfering with the weld. So what I'm going to do first is put a tack on the inside there and on the inside there. And once that's done, I'm going to come back to this outer seam, and I'm actually going to remove some material right here to kind of make like a small valley right along the crack, just so we can lay some weld in the little valley there also. When it's all done, my plan is to grind the welds down on the outside, but leave them on the inside because you can't see them anyway. As far as why this thing cracked before, you know, it looked like it needed a little spacer in there. Well, I think I figured that out. This has been welded before on the other side. I'm guessing that the dimensions are, you know, maybe like a 1/16 of an inch off now because it's been broken and welded back on. Anyway, we're gonna leave this alone because it seems to be holding. Now you can tell this is cast iron just by looking at it. You can see how porous it is. Anyway, when we did this before, I think the only reason I was successful is that we applied a bunch of heat to the piece before we laid the weld in. So I'm going to do the same thing. All right, we got our first weld on the back, so I'm going to flip it over, do the other inside of the back, then we'll move to the outer side. Here's my trusty Hobart MIG. It's a Hobart Handler 135. I got this quite a while ago. I don't know, maybe 15-20 years ago. Anyway, for this project I had the voltage all the way up on number 4, and I had the wire feed about 30, a little bit over 30, and that seemed to be a good setting for it. Well, we got a pretty decent weld on there. This is the front inner side, and this is the back. So now what we're going to do, grind away just a little bit of a valley along this big crack here on the outer side, and then I'll really lay a good weld in there, and we'll grind it down flat, and we'll call it done. All right, you can see I've got my valley ground in there, and let's heat it up and weld it. Well, except for the pile at the end there, it was going pretty well. Now I'm going to grind this down and see how that looks. Well, I'm calling that good enough. Actually, it looks pretty good. Like I said, we're going to leave the welds on the interior and exterior, you know, corners, but I wanted to make it nice looking on the outside. And we still got these booger welds over here, so it's not like we're trying to make this piece perfect, but I think that looks nice. I'm happy with it. Because it's off the tractor already, I'm going to throw some primer and paint on it, and then I'll bring you back when that's done. All right, here she is, all done, painted, and mounted back on the tractor. You guys know I am not an expert welder. I consider myself to be average at best. So even us average welders can weld cast iron with a MIG. You just have to take care to prepare the surfaces before you weld. And most importantly, you really have to heat up the pieces with a torch or the MAP gas like I did, or whatever you got. Get them good and hot. Like I said, I got mine up to about 600 degrees. I think that heat is the key. I think that will dramatically increase your success rate when you're trying to weld cast iron with a MIG. Now on the back side here, you can see this weld a little bit more than I thought we were going to be able to, but that's okay. It doesn't need to be perfect. But you can see how nice it looks here compared to the way it was. And I also put a washer in between right there to act as a shim, so when we tighten this down it wouldn't try to crack that piece again. But yeah, turned out pretty good. So I've still got a lot more to do on this John Deere. If you guys want to follow along with that build, please subscribe to the channel. And of course I've got that new project that we just picked up recently. I'll be making a series of videos on it as well, bringing it back to life. So thanks everybody for watching, and I hope to see you all on the next video. Take care, everybody.